I'm a consultant in human rights and equal opportunity, especially as it relates to the workplace. We're looking at discrimination, we're looking at vilification beyond simply Indigenous issues. We're looking at religious issues in other communities. We're looking at people of varying sexuality. We're looking at women and the role they play within the broader community and the football community. Bringing these issues together has been one of the great advances that we've done in the last 11 years that I've been involved with the AFL. And there's more of that to bring in and to unify and to get us thinking absolutely correctly about issues of respect.
It's a bit of a sense of responsibility. Being an Indigenous player, some of the players like Michael Long and Nicky Wimmer, they've sort of paved the way for the next generation, and I just feel as though if I can help push these messages and get it across the whole league and the junior leagues and the state leagues, and make it easier for the young Indigenous players to come through.
Just for the awareness of, for the broader community, I guess, that racism, vilification isn't a place for sports.
The focus on a person's abilities rather than their disabilities in terms of their employment or acceptance within, let's say, the environment of a club. So we're talking about physical disability, we're talking about disease in some cases, like blood-borne diseases like HIV, and we're certainly talking about mental health as well. When we seek to abuse someone because of their religious background, when we seek to insult, humiliate or hurt for whatever reasons, we view it in exactly the same way as we view racism. They are identical in that sense. In my time, very much my expectation that I would be racially abused on the football field.
There are instances I went out to dinner with my sister, her partner and my family, and we're walking down the street and a guy yelled out in front of them, "Oh, you faggot." And my mum lost it. My sister really didn't know how to react. Her partner, he wanted to go bash them, and my dad was on another planet. So it still really shocks them to hear that language.
Just recently in the VFL at Port Melbourne, and the man said something over the fence. You know, that was a real shock to me.
First thing that went on in my head was my kids were at the football ground, and first thing was, did they hear it? Did my family hear it? A little bit of it came into my mind was, I thought we're over this. I thought we're on this.
I remember when my little sister, she was starting prep, and you know, she come home crying a couple of times. She didn't want to go back to school because the kids didn't know any better. You know, I don't blame them. They're only little kids, and you know, they were giving her a hard time and didn't want to involve her in the games they were playing, obviously because of her skin colour.
There was times on the footy field where people would call me a black such and such, and at the time I got a little bit angry and retaliated with violence, but after speaking to my father after that, he sort of said that these people were a little bit ignorant. They don't really understand us, and it was just a ploy to try and get me off my game.
My dad always told me the best way to describe it is racism is a way people react to change. So it takes a lot of time for people, having these new people coming to their country.
You'd get asked the question, are you a faggot? And then denial, denial, denial. Oh, and then they'd be, oh, I didn't think so, oh, thank God, because I don't think I could be friends with someone who is gay.
Whenever I was vilified as a youngster, it always felt like the perpetrator was trying to say that I was inferior to them. Our race was inferior to that person, and they were therefore superior to me.
You know someone who probably is gay, and by your lack of understanding or lack of respect or lack of sort of education, you probably would be offending and alienating them on a daily basis.
On the footy field, people can see it as just sledging, but it is so much more hurtful, and it affected me and my family so much because, like I said before, our people have been put through so much in the past, and to have it still happening now, it's really, really hurtful, and it affects us a lot.
It's not a reflection of me, it's actually a reflection of them. And it doesn't matter if you're referring to, sexuality, religion, race, or whatever it might be. It's a reflection of the person who's casting that, not the actual person it's directed at.
I think we've come a long way. The difference between racial vilification and barracking and supporting are two different things. I think, you can say, Chris Johnson, you're a mug, that's no worries, but Chris Johnson, you're a such and such, got to do with my colour or my race, is completely different.
We've seen the growth now to the Respect and Responsibility program, which is absolutely standalone and works terrific in those terms of education. And we've expanded the Rule 30 to include sexuality, whether one is gay, heterosexual or bisexual, as a grounds that can't be used to discriminate or vilify, and disability, someone of special ability or disability can't be discriminated against.
We've worked so hard and we got the message through for quite a while there, but still you need to keep rehashing those things and keep reminding people and keep on top of it, rather than think that you've done a job and let it slide and then it gets into a difficult state. But I think we just need to keep reinforcing and moving towards that. There's no racism in sports, pretty much.
I remember going to a club, and this must have been about 7 or 8 years ago, and I'd given my spiel, and the players know what I'm talking about, and I'd done that. Then the coach at the time stood up and then gave his 2 bobs worth. And he got up and he said, "You've heard what Frank's got to say, you heard what the AFL's saying." And he said, "As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing as low as someone who uses racist comments or racist language, and I won't have it in this club." To get a coach to get up and just say those few words, for me, is so much more powerful than anything I can ever say. The way we can fight as a football community is to make sure that each and every single one of us, each one of us as an individual, picks up our responsibilities. Each one of us as an individual says no to a friend, that's the hard part, says to a friend, "No, those jokes aren't funny. That comment isn't right." Once we do that, once each one of us stands up for that, we start to actually increase our chances of winning this battle.
I was at the point when, after I did come out, I was like, well, that really wasn't too big of a deal. You got to give people a little bit more credit. And I think today, people generally are more accepting and becoming more accepting because they realise that, being gay doesn't mean you're all things that the stereotypes or perceptions are. You can actually be a normal person.
If I can get one bloke in one club to rethink his attitudes and say to himself, look, maybe I could be wrong the way I've assessed Kuris or the way I've assessed Muslims, then that for me is success, and that's what keeps me working.
Now that I'm in the position that I am now where I'm 100% out, I actually feel bad for those people for thinking that way.
It's just not tolerated anymore, and I know I definitely don't stand for that sort of thing, and neither does any of my family.
For evil to flourish, all it takes is that good men do nothing. The AFL's vilification policy states that no person shall act toward, engage in conduct, or speak to any other person in a manner which threatens, disparages, vilifies, or insults them on any basis. This includes a person's race, religion, gender, colour, their sexual orientation, preference or identity, or special ability or disability, and this includes illness, disease or mental health status. Vilifying somebody on these grounds is in breach of this policy. This includes vilifying language or behaviour through all mediums, such as Facebook, Twitter and text messages. The following detail outlines the procedures that will occur in managing a complaint. In the event of a complaint, it is important that the complaint is lodged with the League Complaints Officer by 5 p.m. the next working day after the alleged incident. In the case of an intra-club breach, and that's a complaint within your own club environment, the club's complaints officer will first seek to achieve an informal and confidential resolution where possible within 3 days. If this isn't possible, or doesn't appear as though it will be possible, the club complaints officer will then refer it to the league complaints officer. In the case of an inter-club breach involving more than one club, the club complaints officer must inform the league complaints officer by 5 p.m. the day after the complaint was lodged with the club. At this point, the club complaints officer does nothing else unless instructed by the league. Following a complaint being lodged, the league complaints officer shall determine the process based on the complaint. The process may be informal resolution, conciliation, or send the complaint directly to the tribunal. In all cases, there is an opportunity for the people involved in an incident to reach informal resolution where the matter is resolved privately. After collecting and reviewing the detail, the league complaints officer may refer the matter to conciliation, which shall be conducted by an independent conciliator. As is the case through the entire process, confidentiality is maintained at all times. Should the matter not be resolved at conciliation, the league complaints officer may refer the matter to the investigation officer to further determine the facts. Once a formal investigation has taken place, the investigation officer will provide a recommendation to the league complaints officer. This may be that there is no case to answer due to insufficient evidence, or recommend that the case be heard at the league's tribunal. The league complaints officer may accept the investigator's recommendation and the charge will be heard for determination. The tribunal has the authority to make decisions based on available information. At this point, the complaint is resolved. Should either party be unsatisfied with the tribunal's decision on the matter, it may be referred to appeal in accordance with the league's rules. What does a club need to do? A club can promote the rule and procedure to players and members via its website or other forms of communication, such as newsletters. It can also provide training to club members via this DVD and must appoint a complaints officer to manage any complaint that may occur. What are the league's responsibilities? After adopting the rule, a league can promote the rule to clubs, participants and spectators via their website and other forms of communication. It can also provide training to league representatives via this DVD. The league will appoint a league complaints officer and an investigation officer should it be needed. For more information, speak to your club complaints officer, read through the policy and the rule, contact your league or refer to the AFL website www.afl.com.au.